Sky Squad, we are back in the building and we got to talk. Obviously, if you see the thumbnail, you know what half of this conversation is already going to be about, baby. Miss Selena. Okay. And what are we doing here without Selena? Okay. I still do not know. But my prayers were answered because while Selena did not make an appearance at the reunion, she was teleported there magically by the Kingdom Reign people, okay, via Carlos King's podcast. So we did get a brief glimpse of her, and I did feel it was only right to tell her side of the story. And I maintain my stance that this show would be 1,000% better with Selena on it. Not to say that it's not already good, but I just think that they could use some fresh energy because I mean, there are some elements of the show that I do think should be enhanced, okay? Um eh, and we'll talk about those as we kind of go through the subjects. What would I rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10? Let me see what I'm gonna rate it. I'm gonna rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm probably gonna rate it I'm gonna actually give it a 9.9. I think that it was just about a 10. What would have made it a 10 for me if Selena had been there? Also, I did feel like I did not want Carlos to cut off the conversation between God darn it JJ and Sanjay and Sky because I did feel like I wanted to hear what Sanjay and Sky had to say about what they have been getting from their dad as a result of what has been going on with Selena and Sogucci, aka Ashante. Okay. Um, I understand that, you know, they wanted to cut that short because it is a familial matter and it is quite serious. But I also think that that is the great thing about a platform like this is that we are moving hopefully towards a resolve, but we cannot resolve what we do not discuss. Okay. And I get that we want to keep some of that off camera because it does veer into the realm of too real for TV, but I feel like we want reality, and that to me was the most interesting element of this half of the reunion of part three. Let's be for real with you, like the Sanjay and Sky of it all. It I feel like elevated this to a more real place because some elements I just feel like I'm not really getting what I need. And I feel like this is one of those elements where I do feel like I'm getting what I need. Point blank and the period. I don't really feel like I got much of what I need from Marie this season. And I felt like Tambra got more real this season towards this second half of the season. But outside of that, I mean, it felt like Aisha ain't really have much to do, and Marie ain't really have much to do for most of the season. I'm just being for real with you, and maybe it's because Aisha don't really live there like that. But I don't know. I don't know. What y'all think? To me, again, it's a missed opportunity because, like I said before, I just feel like this is a real situation. So let's see what's really going on and let's help this family navigate through it. But they gotta get into it to get through it. That's just how I feel about it. And you know, I understand the level of sensitivity for which Carlos wanted them to work it out, but I do feel like they need to get it out before they can work it out. But that's just me. That's just me. Um, I don't know. Yeah, what y'all think? Um, we start off the episode with Latrice and Joshy, and they're gonna handle their stuff off camera as well. Okay. I want the real elements of these shows to be handled on the camera. Is it wrong of me to want that? Because I just feel like I've been invested all season. Give me the real and give it to me now. Anyway, Leticia and Glenn's package comes up, and we learned that they just celebrated their 20-year anniversary. He proposed, and they are engaged and having a vow renewal. He says that he married her as a boy at 21, and now he's marrying her as a new man. Well, he's marrying the new her as a new man. Apparently, the women are still in his DMs trying to, do one-on-ones with him. I guess Leticia is maybe checking his DMs now. That's probably the way to go. Actually, he should probably just get off social media. But that's just me. Marie feels like Glenn is new and improved, and she's seen effort. Will she be a bridesmaid? And people thought that the scene where Glenn popped up on Marie and Leticia and Sogucci was fake. Okay. I felt like we spent a little bit too much time in this reunion on the cliff of it all, when I still feel like there are elements of Glenn and Leticia that still needed to be discussed and broken down. I wanted to know more about that commercial that y'all was doing and that paperwork, okay? And how that whole thing went down. There was so many little instances where Leticia and Glenn were a Leticia and Glenn issue and not a Leticia, Glenn, and Cliff issue that I felt like the cliff of it all is to me, it's a non-MFing factor. Let me tell you why. For me, I feel like the cliff of it all, if Leticia is interested in marrying Glenn as the new man that he says that he is, then why is it that another man is even a factor in y'all's relationship, right? So if you feel like he's that easily able to be manipulated, why would you want to get with him if he still has this fairy godfather? And I don't mean that in no disrespectful way, but if you got the godfather over here, Thanos, manipulating him, why would you want to be married to that? Like, if you really feel like that, even as I recollect on Cliff, calling Glenn and telling him about the stripper, Glenn is still an adult, and we are treating Glenn as if he's a child, right? And what I mean by that is, yeah, Cliff can say, well, Letitia's doing this, but at the end of the day, it's on Glenn to choose how he responds as an adult, as a man. So how are you going to expect this man to lead your household or to be the man of the household when you can't even trust him to make his own decisions outside of some other man? Like, that don't make sense to me. If he was that much, if Cliff was that much of a factor, I just don't understand why you would even choose to be with somebody who at this age is basically allowing some other man to dictate what he do. So I just kind of felt like so much emphasis was being placed on Cliff, and I don't feel like we needed to do that because we had enough material to work with Glenn and Leticia that we didn't need to throw them Cliff in there unless Cliff is the crutch for which they can use to say this is the reason why we were not good. That ain't the reason. Y'all got a whole host of other issues, and let's discuss those. But I guess we just gonna bypass all that. Okay. Um, Apparently Cliff, for the reason, and the reason why Melody Cherie is on this thumbnail right here is because apparently Cliff told Glenn, or Cliff said that Martell got Melody where she is today. And once she became a star, she ended up leaving. So Cliff wanted to say that Leticia was Melody and Glenn is Martell. Carlos has to clarify that Martell's cheating and having a baby outside of the marriage might have been the deal breaker there, not her becoming a star because he made her a star. No offense, Martell. And I'm like, I mean, I guess if you want to equate the two of them, fine. I just feel like I'm gonna be real with you. I personally wouldn't insult Glenn by calling him Martell. I wouldn't. Um, I just wouldn't. Now, the actions ain't really no better, but they seem to be two different people to me. Um, and each marriage is different, and so I just don't think that you can equate the two. If you want to look at Leticia as sort of the melody like figure on the show, I guess you could do that. Fine, but I just feel like it's an odd comparison because I don't see them as being the same. Meanwhile, um, they get into, Cliff calling Glenn, and apparently he was joking when he called down to Glenn's job about the stripper. And, one of the things that comes up is that, Cliff was in the background telling Leticia to tug on the stripper's clunker to see if the thing was real. Glenn ain't like that too much. Now, I ain't saying that Cliff is the master manipulator, Thanos, aka the overlord overseer in Letitia's relationship. I guess what I am saying is, Glenn, you need to keep your relationship business to yourself in general, right? Because if you being manipulated by some other man, if you are telling another man or any of your friends all your business, then you will forever feel like somebody is a third party in your relationship, or at least your spouse might. So what you might ought to do is keep your private relationship as a private relationship, and therefore keep your friendships and your relationship very separate until y'all going out on a double date, which, as it seems, is never going to happen. Because Leticia and Latrice look like they don't like each other, nor will they be able to stand each other ever again. Okay. Um, and Leticia, I feel like you got to stop blaming Cliff for Glenn's bad behavior. He's not the responsible party here. Your adult husband is. Okay. Now, we talk about Aisha for a little bit, the Queen of Jackson or Jersey, depending on who you ask. And, you know, not much to say here. I mean, we do hope that Aisha is in better health. I mean, and outside of a couple of elements of comedic or emotional reactions, there really wasn't much at this reunion for her to do. Whether or not it was because we didn't get in too much about her outside of this little segment here, um, I just feel like it was really a nothing burger. You know what I'm saying? Like there wasn't really much to resolve with her story outside of, feeling like, working with Marie and Essie was really didn't work out because she was really only working with the S and not Marie, who has paid her dues as the boss. Okay. I'm a boss. 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 Okay. Maria's a boss if you didn't know. And she's retiring next year. So kudos to you, girl. I am not mad at that. All right. So Selena and Sogucci, aka Shante, all Shante, Shanty, Shantine, Cherie. Carlos asked about the history of their relationship. Um, you know, she didn't think that there was an issue. I wish I could really remember back to the beginning of this season, but it was so long ago because they do the A's and the B's. But apparently, when asked who's the closest to Selena in the group, Sogucci says Cliff is. So Gucci, if I was you, I would not be joking about anybody else in Selena, to be quite honest with you, because you are fighting with your man's ex. So it don't really look that good for you to be fighting with her, regardless of who threw what first. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who has engaged with her physically. Okay. And whether that be by her doing or yours, I just kind of feel like you got bigger fish to fry than to be joking about who this woman is closer to and how who she is in what she is to somebody else's marriage. Because you got enough issues on the stage as it stands today. Okay, today. Okay, tonight. Um, Latrice tells us it's probably her and Tambra, which we had already guessed. And quiet as it's kept people over to the Tambra and Latrice look like they could use a friend because the rest of the four of them girls do not like them too. That's what it feel like to me. Okay. So bring on Selena so that Tambra and Latrice can have a friend to party with and invite to the jamboree. Because I doubt the rest of these girls is gonna roll up on either Latrice or Tambra with Selena in the room. I just don't see it happening. Now, I ain't saying these girls are afraid of her, but what I am saying is Selena then showed them, I ain't the one that you want to mess with. I don't think nobody gonna be trying to beat the brakes off her. So, and at least if they is, it'll be even fight. Now, I don't want to see these ladies fighting. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it would just even out the playing field of this equation. Because for me as a viewer, it is always difficult to watch a little dog pile. You know what I'm saying? A gang bang, a gang up. You know what I'm saying? When everybody jumping on the bandwagon, and it almost, as much as I like Aisha, it feels a little like she's a bandwagon jumperization type situation, like jumping on, and I feel to a certain degree, it almost felt like Sogucci was kind of like, it almost felt like everybody was jumping on the bandwagon to disliking Latrice. Now, I admit to you, Latrice can say some shady stuff in her confessionals, but I don't be taking that stuff seriously. Like it, I feel like she don't always make the right decisions in terms of what she says, or maybe even what she does. But I don't feel like there's a difference between somebody that I feel like is trying to do people harm. I don't really get that sense, but I could be wrong because I'm just watching it as a viewer. So what happens behind the scenes, I don't know. But what I see on the screen, the story that's being told to me, and we all different people, so we can see from different. We gonna all see different. We gonna all see based on our lens. That's the best way that I can describe it. Two different people can view the same situation totally different. Okay. It just is what it is. But from my lens, okay, from my telescope, it feels like Aisha kind of jumped on the bandwagon of Marie and Leticia and Sogucci and joining the parade against Latrice and Tambra. Maybe not so much Tambra. I mean, for the rest of the ladies, except for Marie, because Marie, for some reason, she cannot stand that Tambra. Okay, I don't know who she like worse, Latrice or Tambra. Anyway, and I kind of try to figure out what really have they done to her, especially Tambra. I mean, she didn't invite you to the Capitol. Won't won't. Okay. Anyway, Gucci thinks that Latrice brought Selena on the show and to the party um to come at Sogucci, okay? And the reason she believes this is because Selena was never present for the first two seasons, and now all of a sudden that Latrice and her have issues, Selena's around, and Latrice is like, "Girl, you had the issue, not me. I got my building." I mean, I mean, it's kind of true. It's like you are the one with the issue. And furthermore, to me, it seems interesting that wasn't So Gucci just at Selena's event like a week prior to? Like clearly, I thought you had said that y'all were able to be around each other and be cool. Not that anybody was maybe expecting y'all to be best friends because we, the viewers, didn't really know much about it, right? But it sounded like from Sanjay and Skye, okay, sound like there's been some bad blood for some time now. Okay. Now, I don't know if you getting up on this television and acting like, like you've been all good. I don't know, but all I can base it on is what the girls are saying. And then what I saw is that you were at least able to function around her without it being an altercation. And I ain't saying Sogucci's all the way in the wrong here, because that's not how I feel. But it's just interesting to me that she has so much smoke for Latrice, who I feel like, girl, you cannot be that upset about this building. It cannot be all that. You so upset and so enraged at Latrice, and you got this whole simmering issue with Selena. Like, your time should be better spent dealing with that, trying to fix that situation, than tussling and getting huffy with Latrice over some building that it don't really sound like you had that much interest in providing. I mean, I'm not saying she's not a good realtor. I'm just saying it sounded like she had other things going on. And maybe when it was time for the show to start, it was time for her to start feeling like, oh, I need something to do. Oh, girl, you already sold the building. Now I'm mad. Oh, you already bought the building from somebody else. It's like, girl, you know that you didn't get her to sign no exclusive right to sell listing or whatever you didn't get her to sign nothing. No documentation was signed. So she, at that point in time, like they tell us in real estate school, she is simply, she's not your client. Until there's paperwork, she's not, and you know that. And it's, I think it's almost irresponsible to try to present that to the audience as though she did you wrong. No, the business wasn't done right. You learn that. That's like one of the biggest things you learn in real estate school is you sit down and you determine what type of buyer sell, like what type of client relationship you're going to have. Are you going to be the only realtor that she can use, or is it going to be a situation where you are one of the realtors that she can use? There's different ways to work this real estate contract, and you, my dear, needs to be more mad at yourself for not getting that down, because it could have been a situation where if you had her sign that contract, then it wouldn't have mattered who she got to sell her that building. You would still get a portion of that sale. Okay. And I'm like, girl, you're a realtor. You should know this. You know this. I know you know this. Anyway, I digression. So Carlos asked, well, why did you call her an extra? Because, and Ashante Sogucci says, because she tried to walk away and she got loud. So did Tambra feel like Gucci overreacted? And Tambra says she was laughing at first because she really wasn't taking it serious. But then she saw Selena's face when Sogucci called her an extra. And she realized, okay, that Selena and Sogucci have had this simmering issue, and it was built up from years of whatever they have been going through. I feel like that's a more accurate response. And to try to blame this on Latrice is very weak to me and not very adult-like. And the reason I say that is because it would have been better for you to simply say, regardless of whether or not you think Latrice brought her around to shove it in your face, you are the only person that is in control of you, right? So your responses to her cannot be blamed on Latrice when just the week prior to that episode, you were at a baby event with her. So if there was, if somebody was going, is you can't blame Latrice at this point, right? She's around and you're filming with her because she's extended family at this point. So anyway, um, Aisha get to asking, well, why is Selena picking at Sogucci all this long? And why did she feel like it was worthwhile for her to go and try to come at her at this wig event? And this is one of those examples of where I feel like Aisha is bandwagon, right? Because it don't really make no sense to me. Like, you ain't got no parts in this fight. You ain't got not one iota in this fight. But yet you steady jumping on the trampoline, okay, when this don't involve you. Look, you see, Leticia and Tambra did not even interject in this situation until they were asked, okay? And even then, they gave very neutral responses, okay? So for me, I'm like, this is it's really giving bandwagon. And again, I like Aisha. I do. I like her. I respect what she's doing, and I feel like she's doing a great job at whatever she's doing down there. However, comment.org, let's call a thing a thing. That's what it looks like, a bandwagon, right? So that's how I feel. So anyway, at that point, Carlos says, well, Selena's not here to defend herself. And Latrice says, yeah, and we know why. Because there is some type of order, a stay away order, stay away from Sogucci order or something like that. I don't know if she pressed the charges or whatnot, paperwork, I don't know. And Sogucci says, and I don't care either, okay? So we get a flashback to Carlos King's podcast where Selena points out that she heard Sogucci say she's going to throw a drink in that B's face. And so Carlos did indeed do the work and played us that clip, right? So Selena does mention something about being with JJ before. The irony that they're fighting over JJ is wild to me. Now, I'm not saying this ain't no good man, Savannah. I'm just saying that he seems like such a jokester. It's hard for me to take him seriously, right? Between the got dernets and the diamondales in the hair, I was just kind of like, listen, I'm a fan of do you, right? Put on what you want to put on, you dress in your best and be as fly and as ostentatious as you dare please. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's kind of like, I just don't get it. I mean, these women are fighting over this man. It's just maddening. It's just quite maddening to me. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't get it, Babe, explain it to me. Explain it to me. Because, babe, I don't get it, babe. I really don't. So anyway, so Gucci's like, well, she didn't react right then. She was still talking and whatnot. JJ interjects and says, don't nobody got the right to put their hands on nobody. And he right. Leticia finally speaks up and she says, that Sogucci knew what she was doing when she commented about her being an extra, but that doesn't warrant a drink upside the head. Okay. So next, the daughters come out. All right. JJ's girls, Sanjay and Skye. Actually, oh no, we might want to add Sanjay up and onto the cast. I don't know. If we're not gonna get Selena, can we get Sanjay? Because Sanjay, listen, Sanjay was giving it to Shante. Okay. Sanjay said, and the thing that I really the other reason why I felt like they needed to hash this out and we needed to see it was because Sanjay and Skye, I mean, aren't they adults at this point? At least Sanjay is. So I just feel like, I mean, I don't know how old they are. So I'm just going off of, the fact that they daughters. And I just kind of feel like if they grown, they need to hash this out. Like, that's what we would see on any other show. We didn't see on Love and Marriage DC, Jamie and Lil Jamie almost come to blows. So we can see this. Okay. That was my thing. Okay. We can see this. All right. We saw Miss Nail doggone there curse out all of her kids. Okay. I can see this. Okay. Like, let's put it into the bigger context. Okay. To me, this was just them getting out their feelings and letting the audience know what the real is with this relationship. I don't see nothing wrong with that. The girls feel like it's one way. I can respect the fact that Sogucci and Shante had been there for them, but for whatever reason, their lens of her is very different from what her lens is for them. And it could be as a result of the friction betwixt their mama and Sogucci. And naturally, they're gonna take their mama's side because that's their mama. But JJ make it seem like their mama won't there for them, which is another reason why I feel like Selena need to be there to speak for herself. Okay? And they got an issue with the fact that JJ is talking smack about their mama, for which I would have an issue with too. So it's a difficult situation. We learned that they ain't been talking to JJ either. They're not here for Shante. They ain't never been here for Shante. They do not like her, Shante. They I mean, you know, and they feel like she really don't want them to have nothing to do with what they got going on now. Now, I don't know if this is a situation where it's like Sogucci feels like she was not a part of their experience on the last show that they were all on, so she does not want them to be part of this experience. I don't know if that is what the feeling is, but I'm going to tell y'all for real, because of because of the way the world of TV works. I mean, I feel like adding in Sanjay, Sky, and Star, as well as Selena, I feel like you have the potential to expand the Bell Collective universe in an amazing way. I mean, and this goes beyond just the Selena and Sogucci and JJ of it all, but I just feel like it extends the family brand. And that is to me why we watch these shows. Think about Nell and Chris Fletcher and all them kids. Think about Stormy and her mama and Aunt Lisa. Okay. Think about Miss Wanda and Kiki and all of them things going on. Think about Candy and the gang. Okay. Think about all the people who have been on reality TV before and they got these big families. And think about how successful each of these shows were when they focused on the big family, in addition to the other plot lines for the show. Those are the types of cast, in my opinion, that you want to carry on the legacy of a show and extend the brand. And why not do that with familiar faces, i.e., JJ's girls, Selena? Okay, that does not have to take away Soguchi's journey along with JJ's journey. I think it makes it more complete because it tells the full story of what is really going on in their lives. No shade to JJ's mama, but that storyline didn't really give me real. It gave put on for the camera. And Miss Mama, I just felt like I like her. She seemed downright adorable, but the way she was kind of carrying on, I just didn't believe it. No shade to her. I mean, y'all know I always got the respect for the mamas, okay? But especially our elder mamas. But at the end of the day, I got to be real. I don't want to see that. I want to see this. I want to see this the real thing. This what we all know really going on. Let's not hide that from us no longer. So come season 4, I need to see Selena up in them credits. Okay. I need to see Selena. I need to see the Star, the Sanjay, the Sky. I need to see all of them in addition to what I see right now. Because some of these things that we're talking about, we don't need to really discuss. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in this. Tell me this story because it's real. It's happening, you know? So yes, that's what I'm hoping for in the next season of Bell Collective. We do see that Soguchi apologizes. I mean, she does stand by pressing charges because apparently the glass had hit her right here. Had it been hit her right here, it would be a different story. Okay. Everybody and Carlos encourages, JJ and his girls to fix it. now don't really seem like it's the right time, and they be trying to press these girls and JJ to hug, and it's like, I get it. Life is short, and so I can't even begin to. I can't imagine the idea of, that level of loss for anybody that has experienced a that close of a family member loss. So I do understand the desire to have them work it out, but I just feel like we want to see that, and that can happen. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Um, Behind the scenes, in the dressing room, JJ does sit down with Star and Sanjay, or is it Sky? I'm sorry. Is it Sky and Sanjay? It's Sanjay and Sky, I think, or Star. My bad. All y'all beautiful. I can't tell. So anyway, he don't really seem to be too open to this idea of them having a blended family and Selena being a part of the mix for some reason. And I cannot for and maybe it's because of his new wife don't really want that. I don't really know. But they're gonna have to maybe do some type of family counseling to work their way through that. And that has to happen. And even if you're gonna bring on Selena and you don't want to have her film with Sogucci, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. Like she could stay 10 toes down that way. Um, anyway, at the end of the day, Carlos does ask all the ladies what they have coming up next. Everybody sounds booked and busy, which is nice to hear. And I do think that that is something kind of different that we don't usually see. Usually they just do like some champagne shots and then we off into the races. I am interested in seeing a season 4. I've already made clear who I think should be invited back. I won't really discuss who I don't think should be invited back because I just feel like, there's always an opportunity at this early stage in a show's life cycle for certain people to grow and to do more beyond what we've currently seen. But I believe come next season, I cannot see Marie and Latrice fighting anymore. I just can't do it. I cannot. I'm not interested. It is not going anywhere, and I don't understand it at this point. It's just tired to me. I want to see Aisha take a more proactive role in the group, and have some opinions that don't really. I guess it's one thing to if your opinion aligns with a group, a majority, but it just is always nice when you have an outlier who is calling things out on everybody, not just one side of the equation. Um, and I think that Tamara and Latrice need some friends. I really do. I don't think that there's anything wrong with, Letitia having Marie and so Gucci and as a close link up, but it just kind of begins to feel like everybody against these two. And that to me just doesn't make for a good show because if I wanted to see that, I would watch Potomac. Anyway, with that being said, that's all I got for y'all, and I will catch y'all in the next video.